Detroit opens with the Rams. That's a pretty good rivalry. Now, those pretty good storylines. Sean McVay, Dan Campbell, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, who are traded for each other. And then, of course, all the draft picks. I think it's Detroit's year. I mean, they have built this thing through the draft. That is such a tough place to play in Detroit at Ford Field. They got Jared Goff, who's grown into a quarterback that makes plays downfield, not a quarterback just manages games. Amon St. Brown, kid from USC, back-to-back 100 reception seasons, big payday. For the first time, they got depth at wide receiver in the offseason. They went into the free agent market and they rented a couple of guys. Defensively, they got Aiden Hutchinson. That's a warrior pass rusher defensive end. He is the NFC's version of Mad Max Crosby of the Raiders in terms of going to get the quarterback. They play really hard. They went into the marketplace. They built through the draft defensively, but they went back into the marketplace. They had bulk. They got DJ Reader, the starting defensive tackle from Cincinnati, and they got Marcus Davenport, pretty good pass rusher. He'll be on the opposite side. He came from New Orleans. So I just think Detroit is the complete football team, and I think they've climbed the ladder to the point last year they knocked at the playoff door. This year they go through the playoff door. And I'll tell you, going into the Lions' den to play, that's hard. Those fans are crazy.
They haven't had much to root for in forever, right?
And they've continued to support it, and now they got something to root for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I got Detroit winning. Chicago. I tried in my mind's eye to think, what was the last great quarterback the Bears had?
Yeah.
Any contribution? No.
Vince McMahon? I mean,
no. That's Jim McMahon.
Or excuse me, I got the wrong McMahon. Yeah, Jim McMahon. Yeah, you have to go way the hell back then.
Yeah, I think Bears quarterbacks, as a kid growing up, I remember the old timers who remember this name, Billy Wade. He was a number 1 draft pick and threw interceptions all over the place. He didn't last. And then I remember the left-handed quarterback, Bobby Douglas.
Yeah.
He was more running back than he was quarterback, and it showed in his pass statistics when he'd complete 48% of his passes. More recently, hell, I don't know. Eric Kramer maybe as a short rental in Chicago.
How about Jim Harbaugh?
Harbaugh was there, chunk of time, yeah. Last, my only memory of him was getting screamed at by Mike Ditka on the sidelines. So what I'm trying to get to is everything's changing in Chicago. Caleb Williams, NFL people that I network with think that he is of the trait that could be Mahomes. But what's different in Chicago is he's walked in there and they added Keenan Allen of the Chargers. That's 900 receptions. He had traded for Carolina's top wide receiver, DJ Moore. That's big-time player. They got 2 tight ends, and then they drafted Roman Odunze from the University of Washington, and they're 3 deep at running back. So, I mean, they have everything around the kid quarterback, and their offensive line are a bunch of beasts. Not sexy names, but guys who can play. Defensively, it's typical monster of the midway defense. I think Chicago is right there. They're going to be a playoff team. And I think they're going to be the surprise team in the league if Caleb doesn't get hurt. Now, they're not equal to Detroit. Green Bay. Jordan Love sat there, learned, got the chance. Boy, did he play well last year. 3,200 yards, I think it was, and like 34 touchdowns and not a ton of picks. I thought he played well. I think Green Bay's season it twirls not so much around Jordan Love now. They've had so many injuries. All their kid wide receivers are always hurt. But what's been added is they went out and got Josh Jacobs from the Raiders, and that's heavy duty. They have not had that kind of running back on a consistent basis. So I think that's going to be good. They had Aaron Jones, they had A.J. Dillon. Jones left as a free agent. Dillon is on IR right now. But Josh Jacobs, he just plays and plays and plays. I mean, he might get 300 touches this season. I think Green Bay is going to be pretty good, and they have a new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley, which has got to make him a little bit more consistent. And the last one is Minnesota. I just think it's going to be a painful year for Kevin O'Connell. He lost J.J. McCarthy. He lost his defensive end, Danielle Hunter. They had bad salary cap problems. That's why Dalvin Cook exited there a year ago. He's going to have to coach up Sam Darnold. Darnold's a great physical specimen, but you look at him 5-6 years into his career and say, why is he making that throw? It just doesn't make sense as it relates to Sam Darnold. I don't know where's football intellect is. There's no doubt he's a stud. So and their 5-game schedule to start the season is just give you a headache to look at it. So at the end of the day, I think this is a tough, tough year for Kevin O'Connell. And again, that division, Detroit is far and away better than anybody else, but you got Caleb and you got Jordan Love. John?
This is an odd division because you look at these teams and they have such a long reputation in the NFL, but so many of them have gone forever without being relevant. I mean, the Vikings made 4 Super Bowls back in the 70s. Have they even made it in the modern era? I don't think they have. I mean, Green Bay obviously has a track record. The Bears, you said, didn't have a quarterback forever. And the Lions, oh my God, the Lions haven't been anything until the last couple of years. So you love to see Detroit having some success here. Jared Goff was a number 1 overall pick. I mean, and the Rams traded him away. He's turned out to be a lot better than we thought.
They grew him. He was not a gunslinger when he got to LA with the Rams, and they brought him along, but he didn't look like a difference maker. And when the trade occurred, Matthew Stafford, that was a big money situation for Detroit. And so the Lions moved him. And the Rams inherited a vested veteran who's a big-time player. And what was the end result? Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that was a win-win deal, don't you think?
Yeah. And Goff had to grow into it, but Dan Campbell coached him hard, and they coached him up into it.
Nice.
And Goff's a really different quarterback right now. So if you like the NFC North, anybody out there agree or disagree with us about the Lions, da Bears, feel free to join us. Fans Forum box will be open for business as soon as we are done. We go from there